Meet Harry. Harry is 58 years old, and last night, like most nights for the past 6 months, he got up to use the bathroom at least 3 times, which is 3 times more than he intended. First at around 1:45, then again close to 3, and once more just before 5, at which point he decided it was no longer worth going back to bed. Harry has not felt rested in months, and every morning he sits on the edge of the mattress wondering when, exactly, this particular situation is going to improve. He has told himself it is age, and he has told himself it is the prostate, which is, admittedly, where most men over 50 go first when this particular problem arrives. And he has quietly accepted it as one of those things that simply happen at 58, the way his father accepted it, and his father's father, going back through generations of men who got up twice in the night and never particularly questioned it. Harry is wrong about most of it. The thing about waking up 3 times a night for 6 months is that it does something to a person. Not dramatically, not in a way Harry could point to in a single bad day, but cumulatively, in a way that has started to show up in the things he uses every day. His concentration is not what it was. He loses the thread of things more often than before. Conversations, things he went to fetch from the kitchen, the end of sentences he started with full intention of finishing. His wife has started asking whether he is all right. She asks it casually, the way she asks about the weather or whether they need milk, but she asks it more than she used to, and Harry has noticed. Before anything else, because this is worth saying clearly, there are cases where getting up repeatedly at night is a signal worth mentioning to a doctor without waiting. If it has come on suddenly over days rather than weeks, if there is any pain, any blood, unusual thirst, or visible swelling in the legs, those are things to flag. In Harry's case, none of those apply. He had his prostate checked last spring. It is slightly enlarged, the way roughly 50% of men his age are slightly enlarged, but not in a way that explains 3 trips every single night. The urologist was not particularly concerned, which means the prostate is not the story. The actual, specific, entirely fixable story starts not at night, not in the bedroom, not at dinner, but at approximately 2 in the afternoon, when Harry sits down on the sofa and does not particularly move again until 7. There are 3 things Harry does every day that explain every single one of those 3 nightly trips. We are going to go through all of them. 2 of them Harry will find annoying but understandable. The third one, the afternoon sofa one, is going to require a moment. The first one involves something Harry considers entirely civilized, a glass of wine with dinner. Sometimes 2 on a Friday if it has been that kind of week. By any reasonable standard, this is moderate, and Harry knows it. He has read the articles. He knows what the articles say. He is not doing anything the articles say he should not be doing. Harry considers this a settled question, which is one of the reasons it has taken him 6 months to look further. What Harry does not know is what alcohol does to a hormone called antidiuretic hormone, ADH, which is the mechanism the body uses to sleep through the night without having to fill the bladder. When Harry is asleep and not drinking anything, ADH tells the kidneys to slow down and concentrate the urine so the bladder does not fill at the same rate it does during waking hours. The body is designed to handle a full night without waking up. ADH is the signal that makes this possible. Alcohol suppresses ADH. Even moderate amounts, 1 or 2 glasses with dinner, reduce ADH levels for the first several hours of sleep, which means Harry's kidneys are not receiving the slow-down signal. They continue producing urine at roughly the same rate they do during the day. The 1:45 alarm is not stress, or age, or the prostate. It is, very specifically, dinner from 7 hours ago, finishing what it started. The second thing is the 3 o'clock coffee. Harry considers his afternoon coffee one of the uncomplicated pleasures of retirement, and he is not going to enjoy what comes next. Harry is aware, in a general way, that caffeine is a mild diuretic. What Harry does not know is the half-life, specifically how long the caffeine from a 3 p.m. cup is still active in his body. The half-life of caffeine, the time it takes for the body to eliminate half of a single cup, is approximately 5 to 6 hours. A coffee at 3 in the afternoon is still half active at 8 or 9 in the evening. At midnight, it is still doing its diuretic work. In someone Harry's age, the liver processes caffeine more slowly than it did at 35, a difference of roughly 1 to 2 hours in clearance time. The 3 p.m. coffee is landing closer to a 2 a.m. effect than Harry has ever assumed. Nobody asked what time he has his afternoon coffee, which is why nobody mentioned this. Harry has tried switching to decaffeinated coffee after 6 in the evening. He has not tried switching to decaffeinated coffee after 2 in the afternoon, which is where the actual window is for someone his age, and which is considerably earlier than Harry would like. Which brings us to the third thing, the one that has nothing to do with what Harry drinks, the one that starts at 2 in the afternoon, and the one that Harry is, based on available evidence, going to find the most inconvenient. Harry is retired. This is relevant. More specifically, Harry sits for a significant portion of most afternoons, reading, watching something, or simply existing comfortably, and has done so without considering this a problem, because it is not, by most definitions, a problem. What Harry has noticed, without connecting it to anything, is that his socks leave marks in the evening. A slight line around the ankle, a bit more pronounced than it used to be. He mentioned it to his wife once. She suggested, diplomatically, that it was probably his socks. Fluid in the body moves with gravity. When Harry sits or stands for extended periods, fluid naturally accumulates in the lower legs, in the tissues and small vessels of the calves and ankles. The sock marks are the visible sign of this. The sock marks are, as it turns out, a clue. When Harry lies down at night, that accumulated fluid does not stay in the legs. The body redistributes it. It re-enters circulation. The kidneys receive the extra volume, and they process it. The kidneys get a surge of fluid to filter at exactly the moment Harry is trying to sleep. This is why Harry's first trip is typically within 90 minutes of going to bed. 5 hours sitting in the afternoon means 5 hours of fluid building in the legs, all of which the kidneys process in the first hour and a half after Harry lies down. The fix is genuinely irritating in its simplicity. 10 to 15 minutes of walking in the afternoon gives the leg muscles enough activity to push that fluid back into circulation before bedtime, so the kidneys deal with it during the afternoon, not at 1:45 in the morning. If walking is not practical on a given afternoon, elevating the legs on the sofa for 30 minutes before dinner produces a similar effect. The sofa is, apparently, fine. It is the horizontal legs on the sofa for 5 hours that are the problem, not the sofa itself, which Harry is pleased to hear. There is also the matter of the glass of water on Harry's nightstand. Harry has been putting it there every evening for years on the principle that hydration is important, which it is, but the timing of when the hydration happens matters as much as the total amount. The principle is called front-loading hydration. Most of the day's fluid intake before 4 in the afternoon, tapering after that, and stopping significant intake around 90 minutes before bed. The body processes the same total amount more efficiently when it arrives in the first half of the day. So Harry has 3 things working against his sleep every night, all of them specific, and none of them his prostate. The wine suppressing the hormone that tells his kidneys to slow down at night. The afternoon caffeine still active at midnight. And 5 hours of sitting quietly filling his legs with fluid that the kidneys process the moment he closes his eyes. All of them have been happening every single day for 6 months, while Harry attributed everything to his prostate and got progressively less sleep. Harry's prostate, for its part, is fine. It has always been fine. It would like the record corrected. Harry does not make all 3 changes at once. He reads about it for a week, brings it up with his wife in the tone of someone who has figured this out entirely on his own, and then on a Monday evening, quietly begins. The coffee moves to before noon. This is the most difficult of the 3 changes, and Harry compensates by having an extra cup in the morning, which he describes to himself as a completely reasonable adjustment and not at all an act of self-pity. He has 1 glass of wine with dinner and stops. He does not announce this as a health decision. He tells his wife he is simply not very thirsty this particular evening. He will say this for 11 consecutive evenings before she stops asking. And at 4 in the afternoon, instead of sitting down on the sofa after the second half of the day, he goes for a 15-minute walk around the block. He is not training for anything. He is simply walking so that the fluid in his legs has somewhere to go before midnight rather than after. The first night, Harry gets up twice. He is not particularly surprised. He was not expecting the body to rearrange itself overnight based on 3 days of different habits, and he is experienced enough to know that is not how any of this works. The second night, he gets up once, at around 3, and falls back asleep within 10 minutes. He lies in the dark for a moment, notes carefully that this is an improvement, and then goes to sleep before he can overthink it. By the end of the first week, 2 trips has become the exception rather than the rule. By the end of the second, Harry is getting up once on most nights, and on 2 occasions, which he counts specifically, not at all. What surprises Harry most is not the bathroom, or the notable absence of it. What surprises him is the morning. He wakes up on a Thursday at 6:30, and he is not immediately tired. It is such a simple thing. He had genuinely forgotten it was possible. He sits on the edge of the mattress for a moment, out of habit, and then he realizes there is no reason to sit there. So he gets up, which is, he decides, a significant improvement on the last 6 months. Harry would appreciate a subscription. Harry has, for the first time in 6 months, slept through the night, and he feels, against all reasonable expectations, like things are moving in the right direction.